I lost it. I forgot completely what I was going to say.
Your whole script was shot.
It was gone. And all I can say is it has sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Other than that, it's really good for us.
This idea of legacy and pop culture. It's a very interesting thing to put together. And you guys do it with such authenticity. How do you balance that? How do you balance? Because some brands will go too far in pop culture. And there's this sense of, I don't know if that's authentic. Other brands will have a long-standing legacy, but they can never really break into pop culture. They're not hip enough. Mm-hmm. You guys seem to move between these two barriers like they're the same thing. Mm-hmm. How do you think about the brand in those opposing ways, legacy to pop culture?
You know, we don't see them as inherently contradictory. I think it's about being authentic and being who you are. So for us, that whole thought about feed the souls, you mentioned it and how that connects with music, you know, and it's the same. It's like when you ask good questions, you listen to the answers, and then you use that as your foundation for your actions, good things happen. Along the way, we've been incredibly fortunate that we get to make these friendships that are lasting because we're there for people when they need us the most. And to me, if we tried to fake that or force it, it wouldn't feel real. And part of that is you don't get too corporate and you don't worry about it if it's a little bit unconventional or it might not work. Because if we avoided everything that might not work, we wouldn't be here. You know, we wouldn't exist.
So it was the risks. It was the risks, staying true to the brand and risking a little bit.
Yeah, risking a little bit, and but doing the risk that, you know, had some reason, like a motivation, right? Like in terms of...
Behind the why.
Yeah, it resonates. And when it resonates, it's like, let's make this happen because you can imagine how cool it's going to be or how happy it would make somebody. And you don't always balance it down to a net present value calculation that says, in 3.4 years, will we have that covered? Well, who knows, man? It's Alice Cooper. Invite him into the Hall of Fame and see if he says yes.
With that being said, let's digress to what I thought was another genius brand idea in the entertainment industry, and that is Harold Kumar. And what you guys did, I don't even call it product placement because it was themed. I mean, you're part of the plot. You're the destination in the plot. Which to me is brilliant because it is inside the fabric of Hollywood and inside the fabric of the script beyond a placement. Number one, how'd that come about? I don't think you've ever told me. And number two, how was it embraced by the executive team?
Yeah, great questions. Before I dive into answering those questions, I think this is a great opportunity to set the record straight about an injustice. That is the greatest film ever made. It has never been acknowledged by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And I hope someday,
duly noted.
I hope someday that, you know, that injustice that happened when the film came out.
Gone with the Wind, Harold and Kumar.
Exactly. I mean, and all points in between. But, you know, like a lot of things that have come our way that have been really positive and cool, it starts with somebody reaching out. And we had a phone call. There's this great film. It's about two likable underdogs. They spend an evening of misadventure and eventually make their way to a White Castle. And I said, sure, send the script. Get the script the next day. She overnights it, throw it in my bag, take it home. I'm reading the script at night and I'm thinking, ooh, she didn't mention the whole plot. So I'm reading it and I thought, ooh, boy, you know, this is really good for us, but ooh, we might have some, you know, some concerns. We had great internal debate, dialogue, discussion. After that debate, dialogue, and discussion, it was decided if we're going to do this, I needed to talk to our CEO. And so I literally stood outside of his office rehearsing my pitch. I was ready to rock it. I walked in. The carpet was a little cushier in there, you know, and I saw Bill Ingram, one of my heroes. I'd follow him over any hill. He's sitting at his desk and he looked up at me kind of quizzically. I lost it. I forgot completely what I was going to say.
Your whole script was shot.
It was gone. And all I could say is it has sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Other than that, it's really good for us. He looked at me and said, what are you talking about? And I explained the film and he was really quiet. I thought, uh-oh. And so I started to almost duck out of his office. And then he asked the best question ever. Does it make fun of our team members? And I was able to say, no, it's actually really positive. He looked at me and said, oh, then I'm fine with it. So that's how we got Harold and Kumar greenlighted.
How many other brands are actually in the title, whose brand name is fully in the title of a Hollywood movie?
Well, I've got one favorite. So there might be others out there, but I'm definitely kind of partial to anything with Harold and Kumar.
I'm just saying I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
No, Smoking the Bandit was pretty good for Coors.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and the similar kind of play on scarcity.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like that desire to get the object of your desire.
Yes, yes.
But, yeah. We should have had Burt Reynolds do a cameo in Harold and Kumar.
Exactly. That would have been huge.
That would have been big.